Now let's go to somebody who's kind of a little international. Angela Davis. When she came to Lincoln, did you get a chance to meet her?
You know, I didn't meet Angela Davis. Sometimes when you get too involved in stuff, you have to say uncle.
Okay, yeah, okay, you said uncle.
So I didn't. I heard it was a fantastic presentation. I knew it was a packed house at the Malone Center that night, but I didn't make it down to see Angela.
Okay, well now somebody you do know, Jeanette Jones from the university. Tell me about how you met her and what's your opinion of her?
Well, Dr. Jones, Dr. Jeanette Jones, I think is a fantastic academic. She's a volunteer at the NAACP, which is where I met her. In my life, as Josh Cramer, and I'm not smarter than anybody, I'm just a regular person who went to college. You know, like I said, I come from a working class family, and so I'm really not impressed by credentials at all. Not because I don't respect the work somebody's done, but the fact that she was a professor at the university, I thought, well, that's okay. It was when I met her at the NAACP, and I heard her speak passionately about her community, talk about the knowledge that she had gained back in New York City where she was from, and then I felt as though I would listen to her academic side, so to speak. Not because it wasn't good, but because that wasn't enough. And as one might have guessed, you know, the more I've gotten to know her, I saw her facilitate a community discussion a couple weeks ago at the Malone Center about race in American politics in the post-Obama election era, and she did a fantastic job.
Could you tell us a little bit about that? What was your opinion of it? Because that was a really nice thing, and I know the Lincoln community would like to know.
Sure. I thought that it was a good start. We had people in a room, about 40 people, maybe 45.
Yes, about 40.
And we were dialoguing in small groups. We were discussing questions that Dr. Jones had put forth about the Obama presidency and the civil rights movement and where we're at in 2009 in Lincoln, Nebraska. And it was good discussion. But I think it was a good starting point. I think if we're ever really going to understand our differences in terms of differences between races, differences between sexual orientations, we have to be a little bit more raw in our discussion. And that night, I didn't hear people share their fear. I didn't hear, to be honest, I didn't hear white people who may have racist inclinations. I did not hear them sharing those things, and then having somebody like Dr. Jones or somebody else from the community have the opportunity to dialogue so that there could be reconciliation. And I think somehow we have to get to the level that we're willing to have those raw conversations.
Well, the organization that helped fund it at Appleseed, I think that was a good thing that they did. It's a starting point, so I think down the line you probably will hear some raw, because like I said, that was the opening. You know, you don't want to scare everybody away, so you want to make the conversation comfortable so they can deal with it, and then you go and say, well, now let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
That's right. I think you do have to start somewhere, but I do think that if we're going to understand those deep differences and those things that have existed for decades, even generations, that we're going to have a much more honest conversation with ourselves.
Give us 3 examples so the community know, so they can be able to participate the next time that this one of these workshops at Appleseed are funding.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, I don't have a date with me right now.
You don't need a date. Just tell me 3 different topics.
Sure. The next topic that's going to be discussed is disproportionate minority contact with the law. Now, that's a lot of words, but what that means is that at every level of the justice system, minorities are disproportionately represented in the justice system, all the way to death row, which means that somewhere along the line there's racism. Now, we could sit here and chew the fat all day long about, you know, why this person got pulled over, that person got pulled over. But when you look at the numbers, more minority people are pulled over than white people. At the next level, when they go to court, more minority people receive more severe punishment than white people at the next level, and it continues at every level of the justice system. And so we're going to have a community discussion about that. Also, I think we're going to be working with the Lincoln Office of Human Rights through the Mayor's Department to talk about housing and similar disproportionality in terms of housing, why loan rates for minority people may be different, or why certain areas of town, you know, why some people can afford houses and some people can't in some cases, and things of that sort. So those are the next 2 conversations that are planned.
Last question. What do you want the Lincoln community, what are some of your goals? What do you want to be 5 years from now?
What do I want to be?
Where do you want to be 5 years, 10 years from now?
You know, I'd just like to make sure that I'm serving my community. I already have the opportunity working for the Lincoln Public Schools, and as a volunteer, I'm also a teammate's mentor, and I do some other things. I hope that 5 years from now, I'm able to still be able to make a living wage and still say that I'm serving my community. Because sometime in those next 5 years, my wife and I may try to have children, for example. And that will be the best reward for me, is for my child someday to grow up and think, my dad is a contributing member of his community. He volunteers, he tries to do what's right, he makes mistakes, right? But he tries to do the right thing. And so that's really all I ask, that I'm making a living wage and that I'm able to serve my community.
Okay, well, this is James Terry, interviewing Josh Cramer of the Watchful Citizen.
Thanks, James.
Thank you very much.